Read it so I don't forget anybody. But there are a couple people who I have to say thank you to that really supported me throughout all of this. Did I write it there? So Vanshop Jewelry is celebrating 12 years. Everyone who makes a purchase for the next week will be entered into a raffle to receive a gift card worth $100. The raffle ends on Monday, December the 20th. The Sunday, December the 20th, but actually the 21st. I'll go to the 21st, and if you up until the time of the show, and then it'll close out then. Just go to www.vashopbluejewelry.com. It has been a huge blessing to have people support my dreams, specifically in the realm of jewelry, because people have been overwhelmingly supportive with my jewelry. It has been a huge blessing. It started as a fun hobby that I used to channel both my creative energy and my sadness over the loss of my grandmother at that time, who had been killed. It has afforded business into a business. So I started my business based off of her investing that first. I sell my jewelry online. So she gave me a lot of my first in terms of the business side of my art. And lastly, but not least, because there have been tons of people who have purchased my art, who has recommended my art, who has gotten me gifts. But these women really showed up and showed out. To Sherry Willis, that's my aunt, for being a consistent supporter. Beyond purchasing, she has always encouraged me, and often without even saying a word. She was one of the people that would tell me, come up to her house in DC, and she would make me bring all my jewelry and set it up, and all her girlfriends would come by and buy jewelry and stuff. So these women have really been supportive, and it's not just about them buying, but it's often about the support and the encouragement. So thank you to everyone, to all the customers that has supported Vanshop Blue Jewelry, and thank you from every part of my heart, and for the support, because it's really afforded me to live as an artist. So I thank you for all of that. So again, buy the jewelry, you get a chance to win $100. So you get to double the money that you invested in it. But and you can buy one piece or 30 pieces, and you still have the same chances of winning the prize. And don't forget, the pop-up shop is every Saturday up into the 19th, and then we'll continue going to the pop-up shop until Wednesday, the Wednesday before Christmas, and we'll be doing the pop-up shop. But the raffle ends on the Monday, the 21st at 5 o'clock. So the raffle is going to be the first thing that we do on the 21st. So with all that being said, I thought my guest would be here by now, but he's not. So let me just check on him while we're doing it. My phone about to die. That's crazy. But I'm just really excited. I've been going through the blues. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do that story before I start, just to give him some more time to get here. So towards like the end of August, I had an issue with and I got the wrong one, so I hope this stays charged while I'm in here. But towards the end of August, August was the first time I had the problem. August was the first time I had the problem. So I started ordering a lot of stuff from Amazon, more than I ever did before. And because I'm home, I was having everything delivered here, because I wasn't really too keen about those Amazon boxes where you go into the market, you see them. I didn't test them out. And so I had a lot of stuff delivered to my home, and a lot throughout the summer, towards the beginning of the pandemic, no problems. August, I had a package stolen off the porch. Now, Amazon, they sometimes give you the option of having all your merchandise shipped in one big container or have it done separately, depending on what you're ordering. and I would have everything come in one box, so it wasn't like a bunch of different boxes for me to carry up the stairs. And because of that, I would oh, there go that easy listening. But because of that, I would I would I might have just lost my thought. I because I did that, I was often like checking the box and all that. Well, one time I had went on my little week vacation. I did a little staycation, and I had the box to be delivered that day that I was coming back. So when I came back, it actually had got delivered a day earlier, so it was there the night before. And I guess people who walked through the neighborhood saw that this box was sitting there all day and decided to go in the box. And they took almost everything that was inside the box. So that was my first claim. And then twice after that, both UPS and USPS both delivered my packages to wrong addresses and were not able to retrieve those packages. Okay, so I wasn't, because of the first experience, I didn't have any issues. I would call Amazon, or first I would call the delivery companies, and they would say, hey, you got to contact such and such, the actual Amazon. So I would call Amazon. Amazon would be very pleasant, very nice, and walk me through the steps of them doing a refund and actually helping me to go through and order all of the pieces, reorder all the pieces. So they would actually help me to reorder the pieces and have them sent out. Well, that happened twice, in addition to the first time where someone stole something off the porch. So both times, first it happened with UPS. UPS went a couple blocks up where they delivered it to the wrong address and were not able to retrieve it. And so I had to go through the process of getting a refund again. The third time, USPS delivered it to the wrong address and couldn't tell me where it was. They just knew it was delivered. Well, that postal worker, I guess, went to that address, and that person finally, I guess, saw the postal service and gave my stuff back. They hadn't opened up the package or anything. Mind you, this was 2 weeks later after they delivered it to the wrong address. So I had already reported it as stolen. So after that happened, they walked me through the process, reordered the stuff, refunded the stuff that was no longer in stock, and sent me that money back and gave me like credits and all that. So because this is the third time, I'm a little annoyed. And because it's their fault, I'm now contacting Amazon to let them know, hey, is it a different way to have my stuff sent? And that's when they gave me the option of having it sent to the boxes. Now, that works when they send it to those Amazon boxes, but certain packages can't be delivered there because they only have certain sizes that it goes up to. So if your box is larger than that, they won't do it. And if it's multiple things, they put it in multiple boxes. So you'll have to get it out multiple boxes. So if the box is full, often how it is now, they do it. So fast forward, maybe like mid-November, couple weeks into November, so I get an email saying my account is closed. So I go through this back and forth process with them for the month of November, actually going into December, asking why is my account closed? Because by this point, not only am I ordering most of my supplies, but I'm also I'm ordering my groceries, because at this point I'm not going outside for little to nothing. So, so I'm ordering my stuff and I can't do it anymore. They closed the account. I open up another account. I make an order. They take my money and then close my account. This happened 2 times. So I'm going back and forth for what is a service team, like a security service team at Amazon. And these individuals are in charge of actually deciding whether or not you get your account open or closed or not. You can't talk to them, so you can't call in. You can only email them, and they email all throughout the night. So I guess they're here. Hey, Rachel, what's going on? So I am trying to just figure out how and why this is happening, and nothing is being said to me. Nobody is talking to me. They only giving me this very generic message. So one thing that I've learned is you don't take no from anybody that can't give you a yes. So with that principle, I always go to, I'm the Karen in every situation. You can laugh at me, scold me, whatever, but never take a no from somebody who can't give you a yes. And that's often like customer service teams. And I do that because often they'll give you a no and they haven't even investigated or done anything. Well, the way Amazon is set up, whoever this team is, this secret FBI team is on at Amazon, even customer service can't reverse their decisions. So I went straight to, and I've done this several times. You go straight to Twitter, Facebook. It works, but I don't think they check their Twitters. But you go to whoever the CEO or the owner of that company is, you find their Twitter page because they often have a Twitter page, especially if they're a large company. And Jeff Bezos, I went to his page and I proceeded to leave literally 30 tweets. And when I would run out of words, I'll just continue that thought. And I literally 30. And I did this maybe 3 days in a row. And I stopped, what's the day? Friday. So I didn't do it again after Monday. So I said, let me just let it sit there and wait, because it wasn't, I would go to the page and a message would still be in his messages. So it wasn't like he erased them or anything like that. So I left them there. And then I get a message today, and I'll actually read it to you all because it was so pleasant and so nice, much better than what the messages was, what they were sending me before. But it was so nice and sweet and all that jazz. Is this it? I think this is it. I should have had it already ready. It says, hello, Nate. My name is Andrew, say Andrew, and I'm a member of the Amazon account service team. Jeff Bezos received your email and I'm responding on his behalf. Thank you for taking the time to respond and share your feedback. After further consideration, we have decided to reinstate your Amazon.com account. We would appreciate your input about anything we can do to help prevent such issues in the future. We want your experience. We want your experience shopping at our store to be a rewarding one. If you have any order or account related concerns, please contact customer service team at the link below. Sincerely, Andrew, account specialist at Amazon.com. Now, first of all, if you've ever done that level of customer service work where you're at a call center, first of all, you never give out your real name. So that's not Andrew's real name. But lastly, it's a shame that we have to go to that extreme. Like, I shouldn't have had to go to Jeff Bezos' Twitter page in order to get something rectified. Now, often you have to do that. You have to, because normally now all of these big companies have a Twitter page and they have a customer service or customer complaint Twitter page where you can, because they've gotten kind of hip to how people do things. So they think that you will stop there. No, go directly to the CEO's page and somebody checks that page. I don't know if it's the CEO. I don't know if Jeff Bezos was the person who actually saw it, but the way the message was written was that Jeff Bezos saw the message, received my message. Well, say he received it. Didn't say he read it, but it says he received it. And somebody from his team got back. But go to the actual page and they'll actually, you'll see something in return. Most times they'll give you a generic message that says, contact our customer service, or they'll say DM them and give them the information, and normally something will happen. But I suggest that you continue to do it until something like this happens and they reinstate your page, because they were sending me messages if I did something fraudulent. And as long as I've every school I've ever worked with, everything I've ever worked at, I always order my supplies. So there's a long history of me ordering all these supplies. This summer alone, just me turning my home space into extension of Big Expose or a studio for Vashon Blue or the various programs that I work with, studio. I've ordered way too much money. And honestly, I don't even really want to shop with them anymore. because there's other places that I can get these things. It was just that Amazon is the most convenient, and often their prices and their delivery is better than anybody else's. So that's why I continue to shop with them for many of my supplies. I bought a computer through them before. I bought many of my art supplies, many of my jewelry supplies, a lot of my classroom supplies, a lot of things. So it was just really upsetting that I had to go to that extreme. And it's been stressful because we're in the middle of a pandemic. I didn't want to keep going to the market every week and, happenstance bump into somebody with COVID. I didn't want to do that. So I was getting my orders delivered. It was a very stress-free process. Normally, like I ordered this morning when they reinstated it, and because certain days is heavier days, and other than West Friday is a heavy day for them, so my order won't get here until about 9 o'clock tonight. But that's fine because where am I going? But it really was upsetting to me that I had to go through that process, and it was embarrassing one because I felt like I was being treated like a criminal, and they were being very short with me. This email that I got this morning was so much more professional, and it was from the same department that I have been getting those messages, and they're very responsive because they'll respond to maybe 3 or 4 of your messages. So every time I would open up another account, they would close it down after I made the order. So they refunded all that money back, and then So long story short, don't take a no from somebody that can't give you a yes. So that was my Amazon experience. And I'm a little excited, but I'm a little pissed off too, because I've already started researching where I could get my supplies from at just the same type of prices as I did through Amazon. So, but I did order my groceries. I did that. But but yeah, let me continue going on. So I have a couple stories for you, and I've started to. I want to give more insight and more news, and not just interviews, but try to do a little bit more news, and try to give you, a little experience so we can get it popping, get it moving. So I have a couple stories that I wanted to share with you and just get some insight. Saved. The first story that I'm going to bring to you is DMX. So I guess it'll be up on the screen. Let me just try to do it. So rapper DMX has been embroiled in a hard knock life for what seems to be all of his almost 50 years of being alive. He's been vocal of his past and current struggles. Between 1986 to 2019, the rapper has found himself behind bars for various offenses. However, through it all, he has continuously preserved and has never been void of support from his diehard fans. Neither has he ever blamed someone else, or what a lot of people we see do that's in and out of the system always have a reason for it. But recently, DMX born Earl Simmons was making waves in music prior to breaking out into the mainstream with the release of his 1998 album. The album debuted at the #1 spot on top Billboard 200 albums charts and would go on to sell over 5 million copies. The Rough Rider superstar has gone on to release 8 studio albums, 5 of which have been certified platinum or multi-platinum, and a slew of hit singles. The Yonkers native has also been nominated for 3 Grammy Awards and is the winner of 2 American Music Awards in 2000 and 2001 for favorite rap hip hop artist, respectively. Simmons has been quiet on the music front for some time, although reports back in 2019 suggested the rapper had signed a new deal with Def Jam Records, the label that released and distributed his music before moving into Columbia in 2006. He also participated in the Versus battle, which was highly successful with legend Snoop Dogg. And that's where I'm going to stop that part of it. And this was the first time that I actually, so you hear, I'm a fan of DMX, and DMX often came to Baltimore, you would see DMX on his own walking through somewhere like Mondawmin Mall. And I think he became such a regular here in the city that people didn't even get really hyped seeing him anymore. But it was on his versus battle that happened this year with DMX that I really started to really listen to him. So it made me want to go back and listen to his music to see whether there were signs or some type of messaging that would have given us any warning signs. But during the versus battle, he spoke a little bit about being molested by his then nanny. And I would not call nanny, we don't call people, his babysitter. And she was an older 20-some-year-old woman. And I think she would exchange stuff for him. I think like a pair of tennis shoes or something like that. And he spoke about it, but it was such a nonchalant way. And I could see even Snoop Dogg kind of paused a little bit, but he didn't make mention to it because it was in the middle of the series. I then played a video clip on my social media from the Dave Button show. And Joe Button, I said David Button, Joe Button podcast. And one of his co-hosts on the Joe Button show brought it up. Surprisingly, it was the white guy that was on it. The other two guys, Joe Button and his other co-hosts, kind of laughed it off or blew it off as something that wasn't important. And the guy made such a big issue out of it that it made me watch the whole verses all over again just to see if I saw this in his demeanor, speaking of DMX. And it was heartbreaking because one, they had just the week before spent a whole episode talking about how much of a predator that Jada Pinkett was for allegedly brainwashing the young kid that she was that came out and told everybody about her relationship with him. I forgot his name. But it was sad to me that they spent a whole episode talking about how this woman was a predator in that situation, but would not address August Alsina, thank you, but would not address DMX and him talking about his babysitter sleeping with him as a young teenager, not even 16, but like younger than that. I think he said it was like 14. And Joe Button made a remark. Most of Black men, virginity was taken from an older woman. And that's not necessarily true, but it's truth in it. But to ignore it, yet mock and jeer and laugh at and scold Jada Pinkett over August Alsina, who was a grown-ass man, and it is not any different, but, well, it is different because that was a consensual relationship opposed to DMX being fucking 14 and you being a 20-some-year-old woman sleeping with him. And it saddens me that somebody like DMX, who was tremendously talented, I mean, even as an actor, he was good in the few roles he's played as an actor. He's definitely a great lyricist and performer. I mean, if you ever been to one of his concerts, like you feel his energy kind of vibrating in a room. But it was just sad to me that we are still in a space where that type of conversation can be overlooked, dismissed, and laughed at when we speak about Black men going through those issues. And often we have situations where if he wasn't DMX, they would have thought he was a little soft. But we know DMX and we assume we know him, and he would never get that reputation because he's such a womanizer. But it just is a lot that's going on. It's a lot that I'm reading about it. And even this past article he did in allaboutLaughs.com, it really I don't know how to address it. I don't know how to talk about it because it's very uncomfortable, even it being about somebody else, because it's not a laughing matter, but you're watching somebody kind of deconstruct. And he's been deconstructing for a number of years. I still recalling what it felt like to watch him on Iyanla Fix My Life and how devastating that looked for him to address that woman who was old enough to be his mother in such a foul way, and we applaud and laugh at that type of behavior. We love to support people and see on the rise and watch them get to a pinnacle, and we love to watch people just drop out of the face of their work and their hard work and their talents. But I don't know. It's just still uncomfortable to me watching um, interviews with him, and not even me judging him, but him pouring out his heart. And if you listen to his music, he's been saying this for years, and I didn't even. It was all about, I guess, the melody or the beat for me, but actually listen to his music or Googling his lyrics and reading them as if they're poetry. It's just sad because he's speaking about a lot that people have seen him go through and did nothing for it. So I wanted to bring that story up because there are a lot of DMXs in my family. Like every other uncle that I have, most of my uncles, if not all of them, are some form, shape, fashion of DMX. And I know firsthand by watching them go through the motions of life and how life can hit you and how bad decisions and how little or to no support can really just take you on a downward spiral. But I wanted to mention that and bring that up and kind of talk a little bit about that because it really did. It just caused me like I just feel like DMX is not the average celebrity. And I see how they're just laughing, the industry and the individuals who sit on these platforms and talk about these issues. Like we got months and months and months of R. Kelly and the damage and devastation that he caused to these Black women, and months and months and months of how Bill Cosby and other individual Black male individuals who have gotten into trouble for their indiscrepancies or rape allegations or molestation allegations. But we have a person who is talking, who hasn't been in trouble for raping anybody, but is talking about how he's been treated. And I'm not saying anybody can help him because I feel like that's a decision that he's going to have to make. But ultimately, I just see how the lack of concern and just how we talk about issues like those guys on Joe Biden, and I'm not blaming them because the guy did just bring it up out of nowhere, but their response alone just said so much about where we are with issues like this. And it's sad that we are still in a space where we're not comfortable with talking about it, and we're still in a space where individuals like him can still be persecuted and ridiculed and judged for their behavior, but nobody is addressing the things that got them to that place. The same with R. Kelly. For years, a lot of this was speculation, but many people knew what was going on. And even before that, people knew. His sister came out, or it was a family, I think his brother came out and talked about how his sister had molested him, or, and other people, he had been molested as a child. But people know these things happen and they don't do anything. Somebody could have stepped in years ago and kind of gave him some type of assistance and help and him getting over these things. But people all in it for the money. So what else can you expect? I had reached out to a couple people, actually my guest who's not here right now, but I have reached out to a couple people because I want to actually do kind of like a panel conversation on this, and kind of make DMX kind of the focal point of it. But he's not the only person that's going through this, but I'll send out those information. That should be probably like the beginning of next year. We want to go through that. I didn't want to rush it and talk about it, but today I just brought it up because I saw another article about it. But that should probably be like one of our first shows, or it may be like a special edition show that I do that brings together a lot of Black men that have these conversations. But a sidebar, I did over on Instagram this weekend, I did hear over here a young lady, and I'm gonna reach out to her before I disclose her name, and see if she'll come on the show before we end for the year and have a conversation. But they were talking about the Smokey Norfolk photo and how so many men were so uncomfortable, and so many people in general was very uncomfortable with his 16-year-old son and him taking a photo like that, and his son like laying on him being 16. And it is very divided in the social media realm in terms of people talking about it. But the people who were talking about it, it's almost like they jump ship and don't realize that we've created a toxic, all of us, no matter what level you were on, all of us aided in how this toxic masculinity became what it is, and how, homophobia is attached to any type of compassion or touch or embrace or love, and how men aren't allowed to feel or have emotions or I don't even know how to talk about it, but I'm still working with a couple men right now and how we can present this, and it may be a series of conversations we have on Black men and how we are, because I don't want to just have the conversation, because many of the people that I'm talking to, self included, have gone through this in some shape or fashion, or have experienced it in some area of our lives or in our relationships with other people. So some of us need the help, but I want to have a conversation that can kind of springboard to some solutions that we can have. So look out for that beginning the next year, and hopefully we can create some solutions, because I don't want to see another person, another Whitney, another Michael, and allegedly Prince. I don't want to see another person die because we could have prevented something and we chose to capitalize off the individuals and their talents more so than save their lives. I would have rather see Whitney Houston never sing again than to have died in the bathtub. Same with her daughter and many of the other people. So that's my spew on DMX. I have another story today, and that is on Mr. Darrell Walls. I first talked about Darrell, one in association with his siblings. They are the Walls Group, a group of siblings, a band of siblings, in a musical group. And they are phenomenally talented. They are tremendously talented. But Daryl is the oldest of his siblings, and oldest in the group. And he is the one who initiated the music career, and then he brought his siblings in with him. And they have a tremendous sound. Like, they sound just, and whether you into gospel music or not, you will love listening to them, because their music is similar to what I kind of liken them to BB and CC, where they had conversations, where their music it sparks conversations on whether it's gospel music or not, because it talks about God, is very spiritual, but it's very relatable to someone who may listen to R&B mostly or something like that. But Darrell, it's being reported that a video clip of him and another gentleman is going around the internet, and I saw kind of a snippet of it. I saw photos of it, but I didn't search for a video, and I didn't want to attack this issue on that behalf. But allegedly, he is kissing another guy who is being reported as possibly his lover or boyfriend, and we first heard of controversy from Darrell when a videotape of him surfaced, and he was in a church, and there was sexual acts going on, and there was actually a videotape of it, and I think it's still out there on the internet. My thing is, one, we have to really watch who we let in our space, and that is a lesson that I've had to become 37 and learn myself. Because I grew up where my mother would bring in families and children from out the neighborhood and out of nowhere and support them. And I connected to that because we often have to watch who we let in our spaces, because some of those people destroyed our home. Some of those people then, talked bad about my mother when she could no longer help them the way they wanted to be helped, or chose not to help them anymore. And fast forward this to Darrell. He needs better people around him. He needs better people around him, because the video clip that just came out looked like the first videotape, it was a videotape that he was taking himself. Like, first of all, Darrell, put the camera down. You have too much talent right now and I'm not saying hide who you are or hide what you're doing, but everything don't need to be on social media. And you know the amount of talent you and your sisters and brothers have. You know the light that you have, you know the responsibility that you have to your talent and to your gift and to your ministry. Do better. And I'm speaking to myself, the mistakes that I've made in the name of love, the name of uh, I don't know, friendship, and you do things in the spur of the moment that seem like you're in the moment, and it hits you. And I have to be transparent. There is footage of me somewhere. Hopefully, it's been burned or buried or put in the trash and never to be seen again. But a part of me fears, like, if I ever get to any level of fame beyond like a local level, that person who I know will put it out, because that's just the type of person that person is. And they're probably watching this because they do sometimes watch it, but I don't care. But it's awkward to have that type of information. Hey, Kia, that type of information out there about you, and you have no control over it, or you have no say so in it, or you have no control over it. And it's just the relationship we have with ourselves and with others, and we have to really watch who is around us and who we let in our space, because it's being in both situations. The first situations I've overheard allegedly, that it was a friend of the other person that was in the video with him that put the tape out. In this situation, it looks like him and that person were very close. And it didn't look uncomfortable to him. It didn't appear to be uncomfortable. So we don't know who let this out. Did somebody get hold of his phone, or was his home phone hacked, or whatever it may be? Was it his phone? Was it somebody else taping? It really is unclear, but I'm uncomfortable with people judging. And this time we can't blame the church for being the judging force. It's everyday individuals. And people are still, to this day, it amazes me how funny it still is when people think about gay people, or how uncomfortable people still are with the fact of what other people do in their bedrooms. Now, you're talking about hoes and prostitutes and, philanderers and rapists still having opinions on what somebody else does in their bedroom, especially when it comes to Black LGBTQ individuals or people of color, or specifically Black men who are gay or bisexual or whatever. It still amazes me that we're still at a space where we are still uncomfortable with someone else's sexual orientation. It's very uncomfortable. It's very it's just uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for me to watch how uncomfortable people are and how they mask that with judgment and ridicule and commentary. And on the message, there was a lot of people that was in support of Mr. Wall and who he was and his who he is. But there were still just as many, if not more, people who were very critical and very demeaning and very nasty and negative and homophobic in it. And it's really why people don't feel comfortable being who they are. I stand by a message, and it may sound crazy, but with all the new labels of identity in terms of sexual orientation and gender, I think we would not have this much of a push towards those things. If we allow people to openly be themselves, you wouldn't have nearly as many DL people. You wouldn't have nearly as many people claiming to be bisexual or pansexual, or you wouldn't have the need for those things if people were able to just be who they are with no sort of connection or label or title. That's the word I'm looking for, title, to explain who they are and what they do. I'm a big person on, and I just, crazy enough, over the weekend, I was having a conversation with a couple people, and who I am sexually came up in the conversation. And it's one of the reasons, well, I'll say it, it happens often because I'm a person that keeps who I am to myself. I don't talk about what I do sexually because it's nobody's business. Like, it's really not, it's not me being uncomfortable with who I am, but it's none of your business. Like, it's not. I didn't grow up hearing my mother talk about sex or who she was with or whatever. And she may have done that with her friends when I wasn't around, but I never heard it. I never saw it. And we live in a space now where everything that we do, from masturbating to watching porn and threesomes, and I slept with this one and to two sisters and two, everything that we do is so out there that it's nothing. And it's almost like advertising. And I think people do it to advertise to the other people out there. I really do. But it's just really uncomfortable for me to hear it, for it to be a thing. And I think we should find ways to kind of pull back. And I'm glad social media is becoming more and more restrictive and prohibited. So we can't talk about certain things, and we should not talk about certain things. I think when you have parents and children, I think conversations should be a little bit more open. But if that would happen, we wouldn't be grown people talking about our sexual prowess or our sexual, energy so much so. Like, it's just done. I'm not opposed to people sharing who they are and what they like, but it's done in such a vulgar way where just the conversation I was having, just that person just talking about how they suck dick. Like, I was so put off by that. And again, I'm a person who I'm never been comfortable talking about sex. I never had a sexual conversation with my mother or anything. But I don't see the need really in having that conversation, because unless we are about to get down and do the dirty, I don't really see the point in us having that conversation with each other. But to bring it back to Darrell Walls, I just asked everybody the question, like, what do you think about it? If that was your son or your child on spotlight like that, what would you do? What would you do? What would your conversation be? How would you feel? How would you respond? How would you react? How would you tell them to react? It's being alleged that he shut down his Instagram page, his Twitter page, but I don't think he did. But because you can still go to his Instagram page. But if you want to call in and tell me what you think, 443-642-9403. Tell me your opinion on not even if you have opinion about Darrell Walls, or just people overtelling, oversharing, overexposing their sexual XYZ everything. What do you think about it? Give us a call at 443-642-9403. I see you directing, sir. I'll ask you, Monty, are you comfortable sharing your sexuality or your sexual activity with people?
Am I uncomfortable with it?
Now, I'll say with like your circle of friends. Like your circle of friends.
If it's my circle of friends, no, not at all. If I'm asked a question, well, you know me, I'm deliberately upfront. So when it comes to me, if you ask me a question, I have an opinion and probably an example.
Right. But people in this time feel, especially when it comes to LGBTQ or I think people in general, people feel the need to know who you are. Like
Right.
it's like your responsibility to tell people who you are and what you do. And
Now, I don't feel
hate
that. I don't feel that.
Yeah.
I don't feel I have a
But do
responsibility.
you see how people feel make you obligated to expose who you are, even though they may be
I've experienced it, but they always got shut down because I don't report to you in any facet of my life.
Right.
So don't actually expect to get a response to something that's none of your business.
But I agree with, I'm not down agree with. I understand, I don't agree with, but I do understand why women do it, specifically Black women. But what makes me weird is when straight men feel the need to know. Like, what do you need to know for? Or why do you need to know what someone is doing in their own bed? And I'm speaking specifically to LGBT, but I see it a lot online where people feel obligated to your truth, to your story, to your bedroom behavior. And there's somebody who claims they don't want to have sex with you. And I'm just wondering, why do you need to know? And we guys everything with, or paint everything with the stroke of, well, I'm in media, I'm in radio, I have a podcast, so I'm commentating, or I have my opinion. But why do you have opinion about what somebody else is doing sexually that's not doing you? That's just, this is the second time this story that's come out. Now, he has fault in this because you're the one holding these cameras. Like, it's your camera that's keep being used. But beyond that, I still don't feel obligated.
I just watched that kiss, the kissing video, and
did you watch it?
I did. I just watched it, and clearly,
it's much different than the first video, right?
Well, I didn't see the first video, so I can't.
You did. I showed it to you. You saw it.
The one in the church? I didn't see that one.
I showed it to you.
Well, show it to me again because I haven't seen it, and I want to. But I just seen the kissing video. If he's gay, I don't, and everybody knows it. What's the issue?
But around the time it came out, he made a post on his page. He said, "What you see is what you get. What you don't see is none of your business." And I didn't know any other perfect way to say it. And that's something that I've tried to find the words to say my whole life. But people just, and I know for me, because I don't talk about it, it makes people that much more curious. And they want to know because you're not talking about it. And I don't slip up. But like you said, if I'm asked a question about something, I'll answer that.
You will or you won't. You will or you won't. It's my choice. But no, it's your choice. What I'm saying is it's your choice. If I decide to answer that question, I'll give you an answer. If I don't, I'm going to tell you, well, if it was me, mind your business.
For me, it's not even skirting around. I just don't think it's your bit. Do you want to fuck me? That's normally my question. Do you want to have sex with me? Are we about to engage in?
And you know, that's usually my response. I mean, so where are we going with this question? Like,
like where are we going? Your place or mine?
Right.
We'll get a hotel.
What's the next step? If I gave you an answer, what's the next step? Because quite frankly, it's none of your business. Because if I was interested in you, you already knew it. Right.
That's me. If you were a Lyft driver, I ain't sending you no sneaky messages. I'm gonna let you know up front.
Right.
But beyond that, I'm still very tasteful about it. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of anybody else. I'm not going to embarrass myself.
But there's also nothing wrong with the answer of I'm not interested.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to come with all the other things behind it.
Right. That's typically what you get from me. I'm not interested. No thanks.
But this story is once again, and I don't know what is this going to do with his career. I know people who know his family members, and they are very supportive of him being who he is. So his siblings aren't like, look, you got to get out of the group, because it was his group. He started it. His mom, he has a young mom, because they're really young. I don't think people realize they're still in their 20s. So people don't really know how young they are. So his mom is very supportive of him, his family, his circle. I don't really know a lot of his friends, but I've been told that his family is very supportive of him, and I think that's what he should go off of and not give a damn either way. But it's just remarkable how people find these types of things still still tickles them. It still makes them laugh. It still sparks conversation what somebody else is doing. Because obviously this photo, it didn't look like the boy forced him to kiss him or even
he didn't. He actually said, he told his boyfriend, give me a kiss. And he was like, I don't like you like that. And in jest. He was saying it in jest. Right. And then he was like, oh, you don't like me like that. And then he gave him a kiss on the cheek. And then they full on kissed.
And it probably was his way. And right now, it probably was his way of like exposing it, because you never know how people are.
I didn't even understand what the particular use of the video was. Was it a kissing video, or was this video cut and it was actually longer? He was actually having a conversation live first, and then the boyfriend came and sat down with them, and somebody done cut that portion out because they thought that was the most vitriol part. Right. Yeah.
Well, that's what they always do. They was
hyping that up. That's why I say it might be all out of context, where we missed the rest of the video, the part that he was actually speaking on, and they took the salacious part, like you said, out of it.
Yeah. I see that. I get that. Like that's really what I see. But I was just uncomfortable with just posting it or smearing it or being like, I'm talking about it right now, but I made a conscious decision to talk about it in a way that it's on us, the people who are commentating, not on the story itself. Because I don't care whether he again, like
you already know how I feel about the church aspect and all of it. So, I mean,
but it's not
you're not a church person.
It would be coming from that perspective. It's not
right, but you're also not a church person 24/7.
Right,
you got a personal life, and then you have a life.
Right.
Your personal life is your relationships and who you deal with, and then your life is when you include everything else.
But it's crazy when I hear non-church people use church rhetoric to bash somebody that's not doing what they think church people should be doing. And it wasn't like the first video where
I'm starting to hate the term church people, period. Like, because you're just you're people. You're just people. Yeah. And you need to know that y'all all got fallacies.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think, and it's been a bigger push in the last couple of years, the church community is getting really radical and really divided on their stances on situations like this. But
we already know that just from who they had, from the 70 million votes that the former president got.
And most of them came from
evangelicals,
a lot of them came from
and Christian churches. Exactly.
A lot of that came from. I don't think they came from a lot of parishioners. I think that was a lot of church leadership, pastors and such, that gave them that type of lead, and the black ones too, all the same. But it was just I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to spark other conversations. One, I didn't want people asking me about my fucking business because it's none of your business. But surprisingly, when this article came out, it was right after I had went to a Friendsgiving, and this conversation came up. And it was, for me, it's very, people just feel the need to know your business and know it to the point where you are just, well, yeah, because I do this and I'm doing that, and yeah, I've done that, and like, why do you need to know? And part of it is because that's what you're out there doing. So you want me to match your wholeness, and it makes you comfortable knowing that I'm a whole too, but I don't play that. I don't play that tick for tat game. So I just wanted, to understand what the curiosity is when it comes to other people's sexual activities, and why is this always news? At this point, every TV show has a gay character. Every movie has a gay scene. So it shouldn't make you giggle still. It shouldn't make you like.
It shouldn't be so mainstream.
Yeah, right. It shouldn't be like part of our dialogue anymore in terms of commentating. Because every TV show now has a gay character. That's a complaint from people that every TV show is something gay going on, or there's some representation of gay. But it's been designed for that. Like, people have fought years for that, for identity and such. But that's just where I'm at. But hopefully my guests will come back some other time, I only gave her a couple chances, but that's what I'm just saying. But how are you going to spend the rest of this holiday season?
In the same
are you looking forward to Christmas?
I'm gonna be right here on Christmas. I'm gonna be right here.
Are you having a guest over?
That's hilarious.
Are you having a guest over?
That'll be a negative. They come with a
vaccine. You decorating and remodeling. Is that just for you?
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. It's my home. No one else's.
Well, you have to share this home.
Not during COVID. No, I don't.
So speaking of COVID, so right now, say the government and like entities and everybody is going back to normal. Things are still shut down mode.
No, that's not even shut down. I'm not even thinking about the shutdown portion of it. We're now up to 3,000 people dying a day.
Yep. And I think sometime last week, Texas had 17,000. And
right. That was their catch up. Right. In a week. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, y'all don't think this serious?
But we're having 3,000 people die a day.
In Maryland, consistently.
Well, that's cases. We get 3,000 cases a day. I'm talking about so nationally, we get 3,000 deaths a day. Yeah. Where it used to be 1,000 people dying a day, it's now
I don't even think. Well, unfortunately, I don't think about the deaths. I'm just thinking about the people who contract it every day.
See, and that's not the but you got to realize it's more severe to hear about the deaths than it is the cases, because a lot of those cases that you hear about, most of them survive.
Yeah, but for me, the number is outstanding. India is one of the most populated countries in the world. India.
I mean, because here's how I take it too, because I wish they also. I mean, it's hard to get that number, but they also with the case count, they also need to see the people that are recovering. It needs to be that number needs to be shown. It also needs to show the people that are suffering from symptoms after they've recovered. We need to see those numbers. And we also, along with the death number. The death number is important to me because I don't think that the severity of 3,000 people dying a day, when you times that by 10, that's 30,000 people. When you then times that by 10,
when you say 3,000, that's how many new cases we've gotten. So that's
in Maryland, right? We had 3,000 cases in Maryland. I'm still talking about nationally, 3,000 deaths a day. When you times that by 10, that's 30,000. Okay, that's 10 days. When you times that by 3, that's 90,000 people in 1 month. Okay, and then times that by 10 for 10 months. That's 900,000 people.
Was just in looking at the numbers in general. So, and I only go to India because of how many people live in India and kind of the economic level that India has, where it has way more people who are impoverished than the United States does.
Right. Well, because when you look at the case count, that's when you can see what the transmission is. If 3,000 people got it in one day, how many people did they come in contact with in that one day? Which is going to be the future cases for tomorrow and then next week.
I think our numbers are 5 million more than India has.
That's crazy.
And it was just growing like 100,000, 1 million. And it was like teetering where they were ahead of us. And then slowly we got ahead of them. And now it's over 5 million people. And I'm just saying it because of the number of the people. And they have more people in that small country than we have in our whole United States. And it's just, I don't think people are still listening. So when these people are still having these parties and still having these events, and there's no safety precautions, and even on the side of a lot of the filming and the television still proceeding.
Well, here's what's interesting, because I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say whoever. But seeing as though it already has now gotten close to home.
Yes.
With one of our personalities. Contracting the virus, it's even more, like, because I already said it. We've been talking about it for the past 2 hours now in our Big Exposed Radio personnel group, and that's just to answer the question for why we had to shut down our studios, because I won't be responsible for anybody's death.
And beyond it being a legal issue, nobody, all of us don't want to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a judger. I'm not one of the people like, put your mask on, but put your fucking mask on.
Right.
Sorry, but put it on, because people, it's just,
and where you don't have to be someplace, don't be there.
Mm-mm.
You don't have to be there.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And in this day and age, like I don't want to harp on this effect that he got a store, that store and all that kind of thing, but
it's a trickling down effect. It doesn't just affect you. It doesn't, and that's I guess, instead of harping on that, long story short, it doesn't just affect you.
Mm-hmm.
Your workplace, your family, your friends, people you just in the market with, and I really hope he gets better, and I hope he beats this, and he's on that side of statistics. But that's why I harp on the amount of people who contracted, period. And I'm very sorrowful and very, upset at the amount of people who still
are in denial of it, period.
Right, but in denial, but that die from it. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
But it's still, people are still getting it. And I was making a point that even some of the film sets, I've turned down certain things in terms of plays, and because I didn't feel the environment was safe.
Mm-hmm.
But we are having situations where those people are getting tested 4 and 5 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And now those rapid testing places are so filled in terms of the amount of testing they're doing that some glitches are starting to happen where they're giving false positives to people, or positive negatives, or false negatives to people. Because if you're giving a false positive, a false negative is surely to follow, or somewhere in the midst as well. So people are thinking they have it or thinking they don't have it, because these rapid testing places are now the go-to, because that's the way the entertainment industry is working now. For them to continue working, they need to know, and those tests, I think, come back 15, 20 minutes. So people are going to those places and they're not following the rules, thinking that all I gotta do is go get tested, but not realizing you have to follow the rules that go along with you getting tested. Like, wearing your mask properly, making sure your hygiene, washing your hands, staying out of contact of large groups of people, and stand, and just, I went somewhere, in the last week, and there were people who was like, oh, I forgot to bring my mask. That means the time it took you to get here from where the fuck you came from, you didn't have a mask on. I gotta go. I'm out of here. Because it just wasn't like it. I don't understand. And I'm not judging anybody, but
it's so funny because somebody called me yesterday, like, can you take me to the Greyhound? I hung right up.
Take you to the Greyhound.
No, I'm not taking you to no Greyhound.
Why are you getting on the Greyhound?
I don't care.
The Greyhound was filthy before this.
I don't care.
They didn't clean those bathrooms.
I'm not coming to pick you up. I'm not coming to see you. I don't want to see your eyes open. I don't want to see nothing. No, I'm good.
Some people are really highly offended by that. Some people are very much so offended when you don't want to deal with them and their coronavirus.
I was just telling Benia last night after her show that I am physically, emotionally, and what other kind of feeling that you can have unattracted to everybody.
I don't even see you.
You don't no.
You still cute, but I don't see you.
I want no parts of any of you. Nothing. Has your hey big head message like increased during all this? It has.
What you doing?
What you been up to? No, I've been up to nothing. It's dry as a bone over here. Okay. Nothing going on.
I'm not even saying that this interaction in general there are times where I just want to, I don't give a fuck what I have. I could go butt naked. I just want to walk out the house and do something. Mm-hmm. But you think about like,
the ramifications.
And I'm gonna have, it's certain days that I think I get a little too comfortable in the outside and I come home and I think I have it. So then I don't go outside but see, that's the house.
Thing, and that's the thing that I have been practicing through this whole entire thing. If I have gone outside, say for instance, I go to the supermarket, I do actually quarantine myself until it's time for me to go to the market the next time. Like that's it. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere else. I make that one trip a week, and I need to get everything that I need to get in that one trip because I'm not coming out for the next 7 days.
Yeah. So I was this going to the grocery store for like a month, but I stopped doing that in like May because I was like, that's not healthy because I need to at least get, because I'm much lighter. Like I probably look darker on this, but
lack of sunlight.
I'm much lighter than I've ever been. Normally that I will get this
for lack of sunlight, right?
Right. And I was starting like, no, I'm about to be light skinned like my papa. I don't want to be that light. But I would literally just go stand outside on the steps or go stand on my balcony and just let the sun hit me.
Well, it's like a comedy show. So since the cases in Maryland and my zip code in particular started to tick up, it's a comedy show to watch me take out the trash. I'll tell you that now because I don't leave off my top step.
No.
And we're supposed to move our trash cans up to the curb so the trash people can easily access them.
Right.
And they'll picture me.
And you got to put it out there.
And my curb is like 5 feet away from my top step. Picture me from the top step pushing that trash can to the front curb. There's all kinds of splits happening.
I can't. I refuse. It's not. I'm not so panicked. I'm not at your level at it. But I'm not as panicked, but I do stay in the house. Like yesterday, I went to the post office. And it's days like that where I come in the house like, I think I got corona.
It's interesting when you make chores. You make chores so you don't get bored.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I have now carpet cleaned the carpet in my living room. I see a spot. Oh, good. This is a good excuse to pull out the carpet cleaner.
Or you clean the hell out of that toilet.
I've scrubbed walls.
That's me.
I've scrubbed walls. I've scrubbed bricks. My exposed brick, like your background. I've scrubbed them down.
Yeah. But the crazy thing for me, like I can honestly say nobody has been in my house since before this started. So the last time somebody was probably in my house was like February.
I've had 2 people.
Nope.
2 people. My best friend.
Nope.
And Nicole.
But that's probably somebody else who has not done anything.
Right. That she's home in her house. I know exactly where she is.
Right. But I can't. I don't trust. And it's hard. I don't like talking to people on the phone. But now I
just so my best friend knows, just in case she's actually watching your show today, just so she knows, after that birthday party she had with those 15 people over there, she won't be back.
Ooh. Gotcha.
And she's the RN.
Yeah, I just can't. I'm trying, and it's not that because it's possible for you to sit in the room as long as you got on your mask and you're doing what you're supposed to do. But at the same time, you can still get it. And the mask, I guess, slows down the process. But these people are still having parties, and they're not taking any precautions or any type of,
right.
Nothing.
And you asked me too about if I was planning on doing something for Christmas. I am thinking about I'm about 50, between 50 and 60% thinking I'm still going to go to the Dominican. I just don't know.
What is
I'm getting a house.
Capacity at the hotel shop?
I'm getting a house.
Oh,
I'm a VRBO. I'm not going to no resorts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm scared of that week I was in the hotel. You should have saw me. And I actually had my friend was with me that week. So first of all, we stopped at the market and I got cleaning supplies. everything. As soon as I got to the front desk to check in, I asked for another set of sheets. Like this.
And they don't wear a whole lot of masks down there either. But
Dominican Republic. But they don't have the high numbers either.
Right. They don't have the high numbers because it's hot. It's always hot. It's always burning up, scorching hot. So it's nothing to breathe. It's no oxygen to blow around.
But it was hot here this summer.
No, but what I mean, no, it's not the same hot. Here we got hot and humidity. There it's hot. It's just hot. There is no humidity because that's the equator. There is no humidity. Right. It's just hot. You go outside, you want to go back inside so you can get some oxygen because it's just hot. So they don't have that big problem like we have where humidity creates wind, which blows your breath around to everybody and can affect people. Down there, it's not that much. Where they had infections, I'm not saying they didn't have any infection. It's just different.
And speaking of wind, I am terrified because the last couple weeks we've had horrible wind.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was blowing it around.
I wanted to go get something to eat so bad, but I was like, nope. Because it's just gonna be just my luck. I'm gonna take a deep breath and the wind will blow.
And you see, they don't have that. They also don't have that issue because everything, the residents, people that live there, their doors are always open. The windows are always open, so everything is always aired out. And it's not like they got carpet. They don't have carpet down there. They don't do that because they need the tile floors to try to keep the house cool. So everything is it's very airy. So that's why their infection rates aren't going up through the roof like ours. If they caught it from a tourist. Mm-hmm. Somebody that came in country with it and then spread it that way. Like it couldn't have originated there.
So you about to bring Corona to the Dominican?
Plus,
you know what? How many people gonna be mad at you?
I'm definitely not getting on the plane because I'm definitely gonna get tested before I even leave because that's just not. I don't think that would.
But then you still getting on the plane though. Now, and I think people misunderstand planes, though. But I'm talking. I
already checked with Southwest. That's because that's my. I'm a germaphobe. I need to know what they do for on Southwest flights going international. They are.
Well, the air. People don't realize the air on the plane is much safer than anywhere else.
Yeah,
because that air is constantly being filtered.
But they also said the middle seats all on Southwest are still open always now. And then I asked them how have flights, because they fly to the Dominican every day. How has flights been every day?
In terms of how many people?
Nowhere near capacity, and they said they only fill planes to 50%, but it has never made it to 25% capacity.
I don't believe if you only fill it half 50% and you opening up the middle seat again.
That's what I'm saying. But 50% would be without all the middle seats. Because on Southwest planes on both sides is the middle seat is empty, and they still don't have 50% capacity. That's what I'm saying. They said they've been filling a little bit over 25% capacity going every day. Because not a whole lot of people go to the Dominican Republic every single day. Tourism isn't really open down there right now anyway. I mean, it's open, but they're not. People aren't traveling. Is what I'm getting at.
No. So as being reported, Monty has taken the Corona to the DR.
Hey, that's not what has been reported. See, that's how conspiracy gets started.
Well, that's what we do. We start rumors, right? I thought that's what we did a bit. So.
No, but you got to preface it with "This is a rumor."
I said
you started a rumor.
So allegedly, Monty is taking the Corona to the DR. So just be mindful and be cautious. Allegedly,
right? Allegedly, which means it could be true, it could be false.
Oh my God! They start reporting that you took Corona. That's all now. If people from Corona,
right? I ain't even gone anywhere yet.
It was like I heard Monty went down there and he took that shit down there. He go every year too. So
every 6 months.
He go every 6 months. He took that shit down and he'd have killed the whole fucking country. That don't make no sense. But
I'm not going
my love and light goes out to our fellow host and his family and his children. Their family and children. And I just hope people be safe, take this seriously, and don't BS it. And last but not least, Howard County has already started the motion to there are no more snow days. Snow days are a thing of the past. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, Google Meet.
I was going to say, why would you need a snow day if you're already home?
No, I'm talking about, they talking about just in moving forward. So once the country opens back up and once things are back to
because normal, you can do school from home.
No more snow days.
So that means they're going to keep virtual going even after this.
Well, even once the children can go back to school, they're talking about, so if we do have snow days in the future, they're going to use virtual learning as a means to shut down. Now, I'm not saying all the students are going to sign in.
But that will open we got to go, but I mean, that will open the floodgates to say, for instance, I mean, I don't want to use this as an excuse. Your mom, right? You're the child. You're the child. You're the eldest child at home, right? Your mom needs a babysitter for her younger child, maybe 2, 3, so she can go to work, right? And now that's only for low income people because I don't know how much that happens for middle class people. You know, sending their child to daycare and all that kind of stuff. This is more for on the lower end. It begs the question then, why can't my child stay home, take care of the child, babysit, and go to school online? Not all the time, but sometimes. Where there's no other choice.
Well, I'm saying that happens. I'm not even going to say that doesn't already happen.
That's what I'm saying. That's a reality today. But there's no recourse for them. They got to be marked absent.
Yeah.
In a regular school year, basically. They would be marked absent and then ask for makeup work. Yeah. We already had this kind of discussion, I think, but it's due a bigger discussion.
But that is a sticky situation because I think your child has to be at least 13 in order to
I'm talking about somebody older.
Right.
Not somebody like 10 and 12. I'm talking about somebody in high school age. That needs to help out their parents.
There are certain schools where people they're slowly going back to school. And their whole, like in the county, their whole school is going back to school. So that is definitely a thing. And we know Black families.
It happens.
Right. It's a couple days you stay at home and watch Lord Johnny because I got.
Or even if the child gets sick, your younger child gets strep throat, they need a parent to be home or a guardian to be home. That's a guardian to be home. But the parent needs to work. School. Right. I can't take off to do this. I need to go I gotta go to work. I'm saying so the rent ain't gonna get paid.
The majority of the schools are not equipped to have smart classrooms. They are not like the school that I work at I have a smart classroom. And the school is, smart, like the smart boards, video in the classroom, all that. But the problem is all the schools are not equipped to be able to do that. They have, and that's why it was so tough doing this now, because there wasn't enough computers for the whole school. They were.
I just think about my time
around to the various classrooms.
I also think about my time in high school. I wish I did not have to trek to school in my junior and senior year when I only had 2 classes.
But still see, you're
and didn't have any money.
You're a different generation than I am.
Shut your ass up.
But even so, we had zone schools. So our zone schools was in our neighborhood. So
right, but I had the reason why I say that is because I had an afternoon job eventually, because I went and got one. But if I didn't have to trek to school and could have went to work, or because I didn't have money to go home after my 2 classes, I had to wait for the other 2 classes in the afternoon to finish to get on the school bus to go home. Because I didn't have money to go get on the bus or catch a cab home. My school was way far from the bus stop, so it wasn't me, I wasn't trekking up no hills. I waited until the bell rang at 3:00. My classes ended at 11, and I had to wait till 3.
That's an argument for zone schools, though. Because when you took the zone schooling away, that became a problem. Well, there's still zone schools. I'm not saying it's not that anymore, but for the most part, elementary, middle school, sometimes they have to journey on a bus to get to school. And I would see that many students catching a bus in the morning. But it's, that I think that's the issue where we can't close down all these schools. We can't keep closing schools down because that's the problem because children now have to travel. But I like the idea of on a sick day, a child having the option of, instead of just sitting out of school, that they're able to, say your child get chicken pox, or they get the flu, they can still go to school, or still have the option of going to school. There's like they may not be able to sit in on their actual class, but that those liaisons at the school, like substitutes, down those students that are sick can log into that program with that substitute right there and do their work that way. So I think it's a great plan. I think it's a great strategy, and I'm here for it. Okay, I wanted to finish my thought. You started this. But this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Don't forget to tune in every Monday and Friday here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. And don't forget every Tuesday, Binge Worthy Podcast with myself and Mr. George G. Oliver. So don't forget also BadShopBlueJewelry.com. Every purchase that you make gets you one entry into the $100 gift certificate gifts raffle. And I know that's not a lot of money, but bitches, it is some money. So buy a pair of earrings every Saturday, the pop-up shop. Thank you. Peace out.